took a trip down memory lane today, and I didn't like it. I don't even know how it started. I don't even know what possessed me to do it. But I'm online, and I decided that I wanted to look up my stepfather. Not even sure why, just out of curiosity. So I hop on, and I'm looking around, and I spot him. And also, there's a list of his relatives. My mom's listed there. Obviously, they were married. My sister's listed there. And for some reason, my father is also listed, which was weird. But then it kind of occurred to me that they married the same woman, so technically I could see how, public record would kind of consider them related. So I click on my father's name, just out of curiosity. And I'm just scrolling through, and here's every address he ever lived at. Here's his work history. The phone number I recognize as my father's old phone number. My sister's listed. His new wife is listed. Her family. His last wife, she passed away. All her family's listed. I noticed that I'm not. And that kind of got me down a little bit. Like, why is everybody else listed as related to my father, but not me? So I get on the phone with my sister to see what she knows. And she makes a good point. See, I was born in the 70s. And back then, interracial relationships weren't really, commonplace. It was kind of, taboo to be in a mixed marriage. More so to have a mixed kid. So my father's name is not on my birth certificate. I have my mother's last name. So that to me explained why I wasn't there. But then I noticed something different. You see, we'd always joked that my father was a Rolling Stone and that he got around and he probably had a bunch of kids out there somewhere. And as I'm looking through his records, I've got a sister who's older than me, whom I've never met. I've got another sister who was born around the same time as my sister. And these are names I've never seen before, names I don't recognize. And it threw me off. So I asked my sister about it, and she's like, well, our auntie had the same last name as he did. Maybe these are her kids, and these are just nieces. And I said, okay, that could be true, but I grew up with, my cousins. I knew them all. If there were cousins that my aunt had, I would have known about it. The woman in question is actually 4 years older than me. So if this was a cousin, then I would have remembered growing up with that particular cousin. Doesn't exist. If they were cousins, then the one who was around my sister's age now, I also would have grew up with her, or at least known her. Doesn't exist. So that just says to me that my father had a bunch of kids. And it's not like his last name was very common. I'm black, white, French, and Irish. It's that's just not a combination. There can't be a whole lot of them out there. So I go to 4 different websites. One's a family tree thing, one's Ancestry, one is U.S. Public Records, and one was just reverse phone lookup or something. But they're all saying the same thing. He's got these other kids that I never knew. And at first that really had me down. Wow, it was a whole piece of my childhood just taken from me, just ripped away from me. I never knew these sisters. I never spent any time with them. I was denied the opportunity. I felt like a piece of my childhood was taken from me. And I was real down. And my wife tried to give me words of encouragement to say, hey, don't worry about it. You know who you are. You know who your father was. It's just remember it for what it was. And the more I got to thinking about it, a piece of my childhood wasn't taken from me. I don't know these people. I don't know either one of them. It's I could look for him on Facebook or try to track him down, but what would I say? Hey, we had the same dad and he's dead now. I'm your brother. What's up? These people biologically would be sisters, but I don't know. I know nothing about them. I have no desire to get to know anything about. I've got an entire side of my mother's family whom I do not associate with because they're just not the kind of people I want to associate with. Yeah, who's to say that these two sisters aren't like great people? I don't know, but I don't need to know. What I need to know right now is that my family, my son, my wife, were good. And really that's all that matters. So I took a trip down memory lane today that I kind of wish I hadn't, but I'm not going to let my past interfere with my present and just fuck up my whole future. I got a couple of extra sisters. So what? Fun fact, my son's got an older brother and a younger sister whom he's never met. Doesn't faze him at all. And I'm not saying that I derived my motivation from, oh, well, my son doesn't care. It's just a part of my life that just doesn't apply to me. I don't need to track them down. I don't need to know what they're up to. I don't need to know if they've got kids or if I'm an uncle or are they married, are they happy. They're strangers. They're both strangers. An obscure hypothetical situation from an entire lifetime ago that has nothing to do with me. So, at the end of the day, my wife was right. It doesn't matter. Don't tell her I said that. I'll never live it down. Never. But it's just time to leave the past in the past. Move forward.